because it really is not what it was. It's just the women of that generation that grew up, and I'll use the, like I use the Little House on the Prairie reference, right? Like the Little House on the Prairie reference, my grandmother included. There was recipes for when you got sick that I remember the first time I ever had to take an antibiotic. I remember it. I was like 14. I'm not even joking when I said that. Like I was like 14 years old the first time I ever had ever taken an antibiotic. Now I had also had, and as a kid growing up, man, you got strep throat. I had probably the worst case of chickenpox that a man could possibly ever have. They were in my ears. I had chickenpox in my throat and in my ears. It was bad, right? And I remember one night I was burning up with a fever, and my grandmother put me in like this ice, like I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and put me in like this ice bath. And I do remember growing up that honey was a lot of to do with recipes for healing. And then it seems like we went away from that for like 30 years, 40 years. I mean, like till today is what is going on. But I've noticed over the last couple of years, I had a random conversation. That's why it actually gave me the epiphany. I had a random conversation with somebody in a parking lot after a soccer game. And she told me that she said everything that we've ever need to heal ourselves is already on the planet, right? It's already here, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then my tinfoil hat kicked in, because you've heard, if anybody watches my show at all, I will tell you that we've been lied to forever from day one, right? And the things that they give us to tell us to help us is really, really not that helpful. And so that's where our channels come into, a little bit of overlap on that, because they will not cure a customer, right? We're not patients to them. We're customers, right? Agreed?
That is correct.
Yeah. And so that's why I was like, all right, I'm on this, right? I'm a genius, smartest man alive. only took me forever to figure that out. So yeah, so your channel gets into that and talks about that, and you've actually helped people. Like I think you've actually helped people that were heavily medicated come off their medications, right?
Yeah, in my clinical practice, I've had people who came. A lot of people come to me who want to get off their medications and find a natural solution, because everything we need, God has given us.
Yeah.
It's, there are herbs and there are essential oils from plants. There's just everything here. Plus, we're self-healing.
Yeah.
Like you were talking about, you had a fever. Well, your body's detoxing from something when you have that fever. The average person will try to suppress that fever and not let it happen, but that's the body's response to whatever's going on. So for me, that when someone comes to me and says, I'm on 10 different medications and I've really decided I need to get off, you have to break that down, because those medications are chemicals.
Yeah.
Our bodies aren't meant to handle chemicals. And so in order to do that, you have to figure out what those chemicals do, how to process them out of the body, because they're toxic usually. I know they do have some effect, and there are some medications that are necessary, especially in emergencies. But for the most part, we're not supposed to chronically be on medication. It's not supposed to be a lifetime of pills. And that's what our medical system is set out for. Get you on something, keep you on it forever, because we are the customers. If we got well, they make no money. So instead of trying to heal us, they try to keep us in that in-between. Yeah. You're not dead, but you're not well. So keeping you sick is a profitable business.
And see you at the pharmacy every 28 days. I mean, it's true. And so in preparation for our sit down and checking out your channel, I did some fun fact research on this, right? Do you know that in the United States of America, the hospitals used to have a place called a sun deck? And yes. I didn't know this until literally 4 hours ago. And so, I studied hard for this, Angela. I got deep. I went deeper into the weeds for this. A sun deck, right? And it was part of the regiment that you would get outside for X amount of time to get, sun, because our bodies, take in that sun and it helps you to repair. The human body is actually incredibly hard to kill, right? We're fragile to certain events, right? But like the human body wants to survive, right? And then I also, something I got into, I actually ordered some of these a couple of weeks ago. I'm about to order some more. Is that the healing properties of linen? That linen is extremely healthy for your body. In fact, all bed sheets in Japan are made of linen. There was once upon a time they were linen here in the United States of America. But again, probably around 1943. And if anybody knows what happened in 1943, you would understand why. They probably started taking them all away for reasons. So yeah, that right there got me even digging into more stuff about grounding and about walking around outside. So Angela, are you familiar with that? I know you are. Can you break that down?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wanted to take each one of the points that you said.
Please,
so you
good.
talked about the sun decks.
Because I spent my magic on those three things right there.
And I'm gonna take you up on all of them.
All right.
So the sun decks, I'm the youngest in my family, and it spans many years. As a matter of fact, I'm the only one still living. That's how many years it is. So my mother was much older when she had me. And at one time in her life, she was sent to a sanatorium for her health reasons. And one of the things they did is put you out in the sun so you absorb the vitamin D. That vitamin D does all sorts of things. I mean, processes cholesterol, and it helps with your mental status. So I understood, even just from the stories she told me when I was a child, I'm like, there's something valuable about being outside in the sun. And as a kid, I was always encouraged to go outside. It was things that she said you needed to do to be outside in the sun. And then the other thing you were talking about with the oh no, I lost it. Where'd we go after sun decks?
Linen sheets.
Oh, linen sheets. Everything in this world has to do with frequency, vibration, and energy. And linen has one of the highest frequencies for a textile. And that's why wearing it is so much more beneficial for you, because it raises your own frequency. And we need to have a high frequency, because when you're at a low frequency, if you just relate it to your moods, when you're in a low mood, how bad you feel. And when you're in a good mood, you feel like you're up and you're high. Well, that's what this frequency does. It actually helps with your mood. It helps with your whole being. So that's an important thing, to start getting rid of polyester and all those, fabricated things, nylon, Dacron, all those things that are man-made, basically, and go back to natural things.
I got rid of all my Speedos. I'm rocking nothing but linen drawers, man. That's it from here on out, man. All
there
gone.
You go.
It's all gone.
It will actually make you feel better.
Yeah.
It really will.
I'm serious. I'm wearing nothing but all my underwear is linen underwear. I'm slowly replacing it. That's how. Hey, I told you we're weird over here, Angela. Right?
I love it. I love it.
Right?
I'm gonna have to go out and see if I can get me some.
Yeah.
I tend towards cotton, but that's
there
okay.
You go.
Linen's a little too expensive for the drawers.
That's why I'm buying them every paycheck. I'm getting one a paycheck. I'm slowly restocking.
Okay, that's good. Well, the other part that we talked about was grounding. Grounding is very important, because we need to get those negative ions that are in the soil into our body to regulate us. And people think, well, I can only do that in the summer. That's not true. Like 90% of the time, I walk barefoot, especially in the house. There's no reason to wear shoes in a house in the first place. Maybe I'm Japanese in another lifetime or something. I don't know. But when you're outside, like in the summer, walking on the sand, on the grass, on whatever you can that touches the earth, really energizes you. You get the energy of the earth coming through you. I know with me, if I'm working outside and I tire out, the first thing I do is I make sure, like if I'm in shorts or something, or I'll pull up my sleeves and I'll just lay flat out on the ground just to kind of absorb that energy from the earth. But in the wintertime, you still can do it. If you're out walking, carry a walking stick, a wooden stick. Get a tree limb that's fallen off. God knows with all these storms, there's tree limbs everywhere. Use that and touch the ground. It'll come through that stick to your body. It is so important to be grounded, because you've seen and heard the expression, well, that person doesn't feel grounded, to me, because they're not in touch with themselves. They're not in touch with the earth. And that's the whole point of it. We need to get more in touch with nature to make us the human we need to be. Humans are part of nature, and without being in touch with nature, we become somewhat synthetic ourselves. We need to be all organic. We need to be in nature all the time.
Yeah, so I got some fun facts for you because part of the show, I'll bring these fun facts in. I did some research. I found this out a couple months ago. Filipinos from the Philippines, not Filipinos in the United States of America. Filipinos, they don't suffer from depression, and the reason why it's wild. The reason why is because of the amount of vitamin D they absorb, and their high fish diet of the omega-3s that they get in the body. So the depression is not a problem, period, in the Philippines, right? And the Native American cure for anxiety, wait for it, is to literally hug a tree for like 10 minutes.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.